Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. We begin in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Jalla Jalaluhu, who is the most merciful and the most beneficent. The Arabic you see there is ta'alluq ma'Allah, and under that you see the English translation of that, which is connecting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The purpose of our creation is to connect with our Creator. Worship in Islam is not simply a ritual to be performed. Worship in Islam is to establish a connection with our Creator. Our Creator is one who said about himself, who was Samiul Basir. He is the one who hears and he is the one who sees real time, every time. So therefore it makes eminent sense for us to talk to him. And it makes eminent sense for us to be his, within quotes, closest friend, not friend as in we are friends with each other, because that implies a level of equity. The Creator is the Creator, the creatures are creatures. But friendship with the Creator, wilaya with the Creator, being a wali of Allah. Wali is the Arabic, is one of the Arabic words for friend, but wali is the closest form of friend. In Arabic, there are many words for friend, not just one, and each word denotes a level of friendship. So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself said, Allahu waliyul ladhina amanu. Allah said, Allah is the wali of the people who believe, of the believers. So, therefore, to build a connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's what I want to try and speak to you about in the next 20 minutes or so. To go from here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala began the Quran. The first words revealed were these words, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Jibreel alayhi salam, the angel Jibreel, came to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he came to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam with this revelation. And he said, Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. He said, read in the name of your Rabb who created all that exists. One of the great scholars of Islam, Imam Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawziyah rahmatullahi alayhi, he said that there are two books of Allah. He said one is the open book, and that open book, he said, is the universe. One is the open book, which is the universe. And he said the second book is the book that needs to be opened to read, and that is the Quran al-Kareem. So reading means to recognize the signs of the Creator in His creation. Now, what did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tell us about His creation? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala drew our attention specifically to His creation, where He said in Surah Al-Imran, and I have the Arabic there and the English translation below that, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إِنَّ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَاخْتِلَافِ اللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ لَآيَاتٍ لِأُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ. Allah said, behold, in the creation of the heavens and the earth, and the alternation of the day and the night, there are indeed signs for people of understanding. I remind you and myself that the Quran is not a book of science. It is a book of signs. It is a book of indicators that draw our attention to the glory and magnificence of our Creator. So while you are listening to me, I want to ask you to ask yourself one word as you listen to the glories of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Very few of them, some of them because we are constricted by time, that I want to draw to your attention. And that word I want you to remember and ask is why. Ask yourself why. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the blue whale, the largest creature ever to be created on the face of the planet. 32.9 meters long, which is 108 feet, 172 metric tons in weight, which is 190 tons. The blue whale. That is the heart of a blue whale. It's a model of the heart of a blue whale, and the man there is to give you a size reference As you can see, the blue whale is a big-hearted creature. Now the call of the blue whale, and these have been recorded. There's some beautiful recordings of whale calls on YouTube. You must listen to that. The call of the blue whale, the volume, the sound of it is 188 decibels, whereas to give you a comparison, a jet engine, the sound of a jet engine, the jet blast, is 140 decibels. So the call of a blue whale is louder than the call of a jet engine. People have recorded the call of blue whales calling off the coast of California. They recorded them in Japan, across the Pacific Ocean. So if you were a blue whale and you wanted to talk to your friend in the UK or Saudi Arabia or India or Pakistan or wherever, you would not need a phone, you could just talk. The tongue of a blue whale weighs 4 tons, which is the same as an Asian elephant. The mouth of a blue whale holds 90 metric tons. And the reason I put that truck there, which is a Caterpillar truck, is because that truck has a payload of 10 tons. The mouth of a blue whale can hold 9 payloads of that truck. But if you are swimming in the ocean and you suddenly find yourself inside the mouth of a blue whale because the blue whale passed and you were there, don't worry. It can't swallow you because the blue whale cannot swallow anything bigger than a beach ball. Blue whales are among that group of mammals, incidentally, whales are not fish, as you know, which are called baleen whales. Effectively, what that means is the blue whale draws into its mouth this enormous volume of water and passes it through what are called baleens, which are like sieves. And in these sieves, all the floating things, which is zooplankton and krill mainly, they get stuck in that and in the baleens, and the tongue scrapes them off. Right? Zooplankton, phytoplankton, krill, everything. So it scrapes them off, goes down the gullet. The gullet doesn't need to be big, but the blue whale eats. That's the way it eats. So if you are in the mouth of the blue whale, relax, it will spit you out. Anyway, blue whales don't eat junk food. The blow of the blue whale. I don't know how many of you have done whale watching, but I surely hope that after listening to this one, you're going to go do some whale watching. The way you spot whales is you see this fountain coming out of the ocean, and you also, there is a whale. Now, there she blows. Those of you who have read Moby Dick, this is the blow of a blue whale. That's how they breathe. They blow the water out of a hole on top of the head. Now, that single stream is 40 to 50 feet high, 12 to 15 meters high. The calf of a blue whale, now those of you who like to have pets, the calf of a blue whale weighs 2,700 kilograms, that is 6,000 pounds, and drinks 400 liters of milk per day. So if you wanted to have a calf of a blue whale as a pet, you would need a dairy farm as well, because it drinks a lot of milk. And incidentally, it doesn't drink cow's milk, as you know. It drinks its mother's milk, and that mother's milk is so rich in fat, it's almost like paste. It is hugely, hugely nutritious, and the calf drinks 400 liters of that per day. Now, that is, I couldn't find a picture of a blue whale breaching, as it's called, which is literally flying through the air. That's the picture of a humpback whale breaching, but that's what blue whales also do. And I imagine the power, because it's basically the tail of the whale which drives it out, which gives it the speed, and it drives it out of the water. Imagine the power of the tail that can get 170 metric tons airborne. Now that is an Antarctic krill, which is it weighs 1 gram. 1 gram. Antarctic krill, they have a lifespan of between 5 to 10 years. Imagine this thing which weighs 1 gram, lives in the open ocean, can live for 5 to 10 years. Of course, that depends on not coming into contact with blue whales. Now, why am I telling you about Antarctic krills? Because blue whales eat Antarctic krill, and they eat 40 million of them, which is 3.6 tons per day. Now that is a picture of the Antarctic krill on the tip of the finger to give you a comparison in size. Now, what is the question to ask? Why? Why should you ask that question? Because if you were designing an animal that size, with a mouth capacity of that size, what would you decree as the food of that animal? Right? Maybe you would say that this animal must eat the great white shark, or it must eat, maybe it must eat a Amtrak train, or something, right? Huge things, massive things, because it's got this massive mouth, it's a huge, massive animal. What did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decree? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decreed that this massive animal will eat something which is 1 gram in weight. And phytoplankton and zooplankton, which I mentioned to you, some of them are microscopic. Others are not microscopic, but they are much smaller than the Antarctic krill. Question to ask, why? Let's go to another part of the ocean, and that's called the Mariana Trench. The Mariana Trench is off the Mariana Islands, which are off the coast of Japan. The deepest part of the Mariana Trench is called the Challenger Deep, and there it is 11 kilometers below the sea level. That it's 11 kilometers below sea level. Now, why am I telling you that? Because Mount Everest, the highest mountain peak in the world, if you take Mount Everest and drop it into the bottom of the Mariana Trench, it will have another 3 kilometers of water above the tip of the mountain after the mountain has sunk to the bottom of Challenger Deep, of the Mariana Trench. That is how deep that trench is. Now, why am I telling you about this? Because the pressure, the water pressure, the column of water at the bottom of the Mariana Trench has a pressure of 8 tons per square inch. That is the equivalent of 48 Boeing 747 jets per square inch. Now, why is that important? Because if you just take, for example, if you take an atomic submarine to the bottom of the Mariana Trench, just by the weight of the water, it will get flattened like a can of Coke under the tire of a truck. Very inhospitable place. Number 2, total darkness. Sunlight has never entered the Mariana Trench from the day Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created this earth and from the day He created the sun. Never. Sunlight doesn't go into the ocean more than a few hundred meters anyway. And not even a few hundred meters, much less than that. The temperature at the bottom of Mariana Trench is 2 to 3 degrees Celsius, just 2 degrees above freezing point, 24 hours, 12 months of the year. Right? Now, what lives there? Now you might say, why should anything live there at all? I mean, look at this condition. This is something which is completely pitch dark. It has got, it's freezing cold. And on top of that, it has this enormous pressure. If that pressure can smash a nuclear submarine, how can anything live there? You know what? Anglerfish live there. The fang-toothed fish lives there. It's a very charming looking animal that you can see. The sucker octopus lives there. Now, what's the question to ask? Why? And the last time I checked, believe me, these were not made of titanium steel. How do they live there? What do they eat? Let me take you from the bottom of the ocean to up in the air. The bar-tailed godwit. Little bird about that size fits into your, it would fit into your hand, into the palm of your hand, migrates from the Arctic Circle from Alaska all the way down to New Zealand, flying non-stop 9 days and nights. Think about that. This is not an albatross coasting on a 12-foot wingspan, taking advantage of thermals. No, this is a little bird that big. It's beating its wings, flying non-stop 9 days and nights. What does that mean? It means the sun rises, the sun sets, the bird is flying. There are oceans underneath, the bird is flying. There are forests underneath, the bird is flying. There are cities underneath, the bird is flying. It is raining, the bird is flying. It is night, the bird is flying. It is day, the bird is flying. It is snowing, the bird is flying. Now you might say, well, why on earth does this bird need to go from the Arctic Circle, from north of Alaska, all the way to New Zealand? Because our ornithologists and others say, well, it has to eat. Well, there's a lot of TGIFs in America. There's a lot of nice pubs in the UK. There's many places to eat. It doesn't have to fly 9 days and nights all the way to New Zealand to eat. So what's the question to ask? Why? Let me take you another bird. And that's a picture I took in Assam, in the north of India, and that is a bar-headed goose. Now, bar-headed geese are amazing creatures. They fly in the jet stream current at a height of 34,000 feet. Now, what are the conditions in the jet stream current? The conditions in the jet stream current are that the temperature there is minus 59 degrees Celsius. The jet stream is a very fast moving piece of air, and that temperature allows, and that speed of air allows these geese to travel 1,000 miles in a day. So think about this. These geese, again, they start off in Alaska, in the Arctic Circle, in Siberia, in Alaska. They go straight up in the air, 34,000 feet, and they go 1,000 miles. There was a time when, if you were on an international flight, the pilot would tell you, we are cruising at an altitude of so many feet. And nowadays they don't seem to, they seem to focus more on how to fasten your seatbelt, which is kind of ridiculous. But anyway, everybody knows how to do that. But the outside atmosphere and the outside temperature and all of this used to be told to us, but nowadays they don't do that. But if for those of you who are interested, planes fly at 40,000 feet. One of the reasons is because you don't want to, at 35,000 feet, when you are in a plane, if you look out of your window and you see a flock of bar-headed geese, you know what you need to do? You need to say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, la ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. You know why you need to say that? Because you want the kalima to be the last thing on your tongue before you meet your Rabb. Because at 34,000 feet, if you look out of your window and you see a flock of geese, you are about to become toast. Because if those geese get sucked into your engine, you are dead. And pilots don't want that to happen, so they fly at 40,000 feet, well away from migrating geese. Why does this goose have to go all that way up? Minus 59 degrees Celsius temperature, almost no oxygen. And the last time I checked, I didn't see any bar-headed geese with oxygen tanks on the back. What's the question to ask? Why? Let me take you to another bird. And this is one of my favorite, and right now these are up here in America. I don't know if you guys see them in Raleigh or not, but they are up here in America. This is the ruby-throated hummingbird. The female weighs more than the male. The female weighs about 4.5 grams. Where do they live? They live in South America, in the Amazonian rainforest. Talking about migrating for food, there is no reason for the ruby-throated hummingbird to migrate for food, because the ruby-throated hummingbird is not living in Alaska. There is no snow to contend with. It is living in the Amazonian rainforest. That is like me living inside a bar of chocolate. I am surrounded by the food that I like to eat. But the ruby-throated hummingbird migrates. And it migrates from South America across the Gulf of Mexico to North America, to the bank of the Mississippi River and beyond. It flies across the Gulf of Mexico, a distance of 600 miles, 975 kilometers. It flies non-stop in a time of 26 hours. They have clocked a speed of about 25 miles per hour. What does that mean? It means that this little thing, which is 4 grams, you know what's 4.5 grams, 5 grams? 5 grams is 1 teaspoon. So a ruby-throated hummingbird weighs less than a teaspoon of sugar. So this bird now is crossing the Gulf of Mexico. What does that mean? It means that sunrise, the bird takes off from the southern end of the Gulf of Mexico. As the sun is rising, the bird is flying. The sun is at the zenith, midday, the bird is flying. The sun has set, the bird is flying. All through the night, the bird is flying. No moon, no stars, pitch dark night, the bird is flying. Does not lose direction, does not lose energy. 2 hours into the new day, the bird lands in the United States of America without a visa on the bank of the Mississippi River. What's the question to ask? Why? And I'll tell you the answer. The answer is so that you understand and reflect on the ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, on the thing which Allah told us. And what is that? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أَوَلَمْ يَرَوْا إِلَى الطَّيْرِ فَوْقَهُمْ صَافَّاتٍ وَيَقْبِضْنَ مَا يُمْسِكُهُنَّ إِلَّا الرَّحْمَنُ إِنَّهُ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ بَصِيرٌ. Allah said, do they not see the birds above them, spreading out their wings and folding them? None upholds them except Ar-Rahman, except Allah. Verily, He sees everything. Ask yourself, this little bird, and it's not only one of them, all of them. What this bird does, human beings cannot even do in an Ironman competition. When this little bird, middle of the night, pitch dark, it's flying across the open water, open ocean. Who sees it? Who cares? The bird cannot land. If it lands in the water, it's fish food. Who carries it? Who takes it across? Why is it happening? Why? So that you and I can recognize the signs of our Creator, Jalla Jalaluhu, glory and magnificence be to Him, and acknowledge Him as our Creator and as the only one worthy of worship. Why all this variety? Just think about that. If the best way to migrate is what the bar-headed goose does, then every single migratory bird must go and hit the jet stream current and go. Do they do that? Variety. The variety so that we recognize the one, the Creator, who only makes originals, no copies. Which brings me to one of my favorite ones, which is a man called Wilson Bentley, who photographed snowflakes for 46 years. From 1885 to 1931, the man photographed snowflakes. And he was up here, where I am now in New England. He was up here in the north in New Hampshire and Maine, not in New Hampshire. Now, here are some pictures that Wilson Bentley took. And remember, we're talking about 1885. Wilson Bentley died in 1931 taking photographs. of snowflakes. He got pneumonia and he passed away. Talk about passion for something. The man died doing the work that he was passionate about. He was using a box camera and he figured out a way where he would catch a snowflake on a piece of black velvet, and he had to take the picture before the snowflake melted or became sublimated. He figured out a way of using a microscope along with his camera, and he did that for 46 years. Here are some of his pictures. Take a look at that. You know the greatest discovery of Wilson Bentley? Wilson Bentley's discovery was that the structure of every snowflake is unique. The structure of every snowflake is unique. We are coming into winter now, and when you guys look at snow, I want you to think about that. I want you to take a teaspoon of snow and ask yourself, how many snowflakes are in this teaspoon? The structure of every single one of them is different. I was doing this presentation, Glory of Islam and so on in India once, and one of the people asked me a question. He said, why didn't God just create one kind of thing? And this was an engineering company. So he said, like an extrusion plant. Something goes through one and it comes out exactly the same. You go chop, 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 you've got 25 pieces. I said to him, let me ask you a question. I said, if you have two artists, one of them makes this beautiful, absolutely fabulous painting and makes 99 color photocopies of this painting. He takes 99 photographs of this one painting and he is exhibiting 100 paintings, each of them beautiful, but the same painting. And you got another artist who has done 100 originals. I said, who is the better artist? Who is the bigger artist? I said, that is Allah. That is Allah. فَتَبَارَكَ اللَّهُ أَحْسَنُ الْخَالِقِينَ. Infinite variety in creation. The best of creators. Blessed is the one who is the best of creators. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala challenged us, where He said in Surah Al-Fussilat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, we will show them our signs, سَنُرِيهِمْ آيَاتِنَا فِي الْآفَاقِ وَفِي أَنفُسِهِمْ حَتَّى يَتَبَيَّنَ لَهُمْ أَنَّهُ الْحَقِّ. Allah said that we will show them our signs in the universe and in themselves until it becomes clear to them that this book, this message, this Quran is the truth. And Allah said that is it not sufficient in regard to your Rabb, to your Lord, that He is the witness over all things. So I ask you, who is Allah? Who are you worshipping? Who have you brought faith in? And I'll tell you how He introduced Himself. I will recite the Arabic and you can look at the English translation of that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو عالم الغيب والشهادة هو الرحمن الرحيم هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر سبحان الله عما يشركون هو الله الخالق البارئ المصور له الأسماء الحسنى يسبح له ما في السماوات والأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم. Jazakallahu khairan. Thank you very much for this opportunity to talk to you. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this will encourage you to research the universe. I hope this will encourage you to look at the creation around yourself in new ways and to answer the question, why? The answer to the question is so that you may recognize your Creator and my Creator, and you may love Him, and you may worship Him, and you may talk to Him, and I ask Him to answer you when you talk to Him, and to give you whatever you ask with blessing, and then to add to it from His generosity and grace in a way that only He can do. Jazakumullahu khair wa assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.